the gesture that frees the mind. Have you ever felt like your own mind is your worst enemy? You wake up, and before your feet touch the ground, they're already there. The worries, yesterday's mistakes, tomorrow's fears. It's like living locked inside your own head, watching life pass by through an increasingly smaller window. Today, I want to tell you a story that changed everything for me. It's about a man who discovered something so simple it almost seems impossible. And at the end, you're going to learn a gesture, just one, that you can use at any moment to break those mental loops that won't let you live in peace. Come with me. A long time ago, in a valley surrounded by hills, there lived a young man named Matthew. Every morning he woke before dawn to tend his small garden. His hands knew the earth well. Life around him was simple. Neighbors greeted each other, children played by the stream, seasons passed unhurried. But inside Matthew's mind, chaos reigned. He worried about everything. When he planted seeds, he thought, what if they don't grow? When they grew, he feared, what if it doesn't rain? And when it rained, he dreaded, what if there are floods? Each thought dragged another, spinning endlessly like a wheel that never stops. His body moved through the day, but his mind remained trapped in endless circles of doubt and fear. One afternoon, exhausted after sleepless nights, Matthew sat by the stream, watching water glide over smooth stones. An old woman approached carrying a bundle of reeds on her back. She walked slowly but steadily, her eyes bright with a special clarity. Matthew had seen her before in the village, though she rarely spoke to anyone. You look tired, young man, she said, settling beside him on the grass. Matthew nodded. I can't stop thinking. My thoughts never rest. They chase each other like dogs running after their own tails. The woman smiled. I know that trap well. I lived inside it for many years. Really? Matthew turned toward her, surprised that someone so serene could understand his torment. Oh yes, she replied. When I was younger, I lost someone very dear to me. Afterward, my mind became a dark room where I replayed every moment over and over, searching for what I could have done differently. I asked myself the same questions 1,000 times, but answers never came. The room grew smaller each day. Matthew leaned forward. How did you get out? The old woman reached into her bundle and pulled out a single reed. Watch, she said, placing it on the water's surface. The current caught it immediately, carrying it downstream. They watched in silence as it floated, turning gently with the flow until it disappeared around a bend. Your thoughts are like that reed, she explained. They come, they pass, but you grab each one, examine it, hold it tight. You carry bundles of old reeds on your back until you can barely walk. But these aren't just reeds, Matthew protested. They're real problems, real fears. Are they? The woman's eyes sparkled. Tell me your biggest worry right now. I'm afraid my garden will fail this season. If that happens, I'll have nothing to sell at the market. I'll disappoint my family. Has your garden failed yet? No. So this fear lives only in your imagination. You're suffering over something that hasn't happened and may never happen. You're trapped inside a story you're telling yourself. She picked up another reed and held it between her fingers. Watch what happens when I don't let go. She gripped the reed tightly as the water rushed past. Her hand remained fixed, fighting the current, muscles tensing. This is what you do with every thought. You hold on, you resist, you fight. Meanwhile, the river of life keeps flowing, but you're frozen in one spot. The woman released the reed. It bobbed once, then floated peacefully away. Now watch what happens when I let go. Matthew sat very still, feeling something shift inside him. But how do I let go? My mind keeps grabbing. I'll teach you, she said. Stand up. Matthew rose. The woman stood as well, brushing grass from her dress. Close your eyes, she instructed. Now clench your fists as tight as you can. Squeeze harder. Feel how much energy that takes. Feel the tension in your arms, your shoulders, your jaw. Matthew's whole body tightened as he gripped his hands into tight fists. His breath grew shallow. That's what happens when you hold on to thoughts. Your whole being contracts. Now take a deep breath and open your hands slowly. Let your fingers spread wide. Feel the release. As Matthew opened his hands, warmth flooded his palms. His shoulders dropped. His breath deepened. Something that had been clenched inside his chest suddenly loosened. "This is the gesture of release," the woman said softly. "Whenever you notice yourself trapped in mental circles, do this with your hands. Let it remind your whole self to release, to stop gripping. Your body will teach your mind." "That's it." Matthew opened his eyes, almost disappointed by the simplicity. "That's everything," she replied. "But you must practice. The mind is stubborn. It's been gripping for so long it thinks that's its job. You must teach it a new way again and again with patience. What if the worries come back? They will. Thoughts always return. That's their nature. But you don't have to carry each one. Let them float by like reeds on water. Notice them. Acknowledge them. Then release. Open your hands. Breathe. Return to this moment right here." The woman gathered her bundle and prepared to leave. Before walking away, she turned back once more. "I'll tell you something else I learned. The mind trap isn't created by thoughts themselves. It's created when we believe every thought is true. When we think every worry deserves our complete attention. Some thoughts are just old habits, echoes from the past, or shadows of what may never be. You don't have to live inside every story your mind creates." Matthew watched her walk along the stream bank until she disappeared behind a cluster of willows. For the first time in months, he felt space inside his chest. He looked down at his open palms and slowly closed them, then opened them again. Release. The gesture felt natural, like something he'd always known but had forgotten. That night, as he lay down to sleep, the familiar worries began their nightly parade. But this time he didn't fight them. Instead, he opened his hands wide against the blanket and took a slow breath. He imagined each worry as a reed floating past on dark water. One by one, they came and went. Some lingered longer than others. He didn't judge himself for noticing them. He simply kept returning to the gesture, to the breath, to this moment. Sleep came easier that night than it had in years. Days passed. Matthew practiced the gesture dozens of times each day. When he worked in his garden and worry arose about the harvest, he paused, opened his hands, and felt the soil beneath his fingers instead. When he walked to the market and anxiety about tomorrow crept in, he spread his fingers wide and noticed the warmth of sunlight on his skin. Slowly, the mental loops began to loosen their grip. He discovered something unexpected. When he stopped fighting his thoughts, when he released them instead of forcing them into submission, they lost their power. They became just that, thoughts, passing weather in the sky of his mind, not the truth of who he was. Months later, Matthew saw the old woman again near the stream. This time, his step was lighter. His face held a calmness that hadn't been there before. "You've been practicing," she observed with a knowing smile. "Every day," Matthew replied. "Sometimes many times each hour. But I'm learning. The trap still appears, but now I see the door." The woman nodded. "That's all any of us can do. Notice the trap. Choose the door. Open our hands. Return to now. Life becomes much simpler when we stop living in the prison of our own making." They stood together in comfortable silence, watching reeds drift by on the endless current. The mind trap waits for all of us. It whispers that every thought must be examined, every worry must be solved, every fear must be fought. But there's a secret you can use right now, today, in this very moment. When you feel caught in mental loops, when anxiety tightens its grip, simply open your hands. Let your fingers spread wide. Take one deep breath. This small gesture reminds your whole being to release, to stop clinging to thoughts that don't serve you. Practice it when you wake, when you work, when you rest. Watch how something so simple creates space where there was none before. If the story touched something in you, hit that like button. Not just for me, but as a way of saying yes to your own freedom. Share it with someone who's trapped in their own thoughts right now. You might be the reed that helps them float free. Drop a comment telling me about your biggest mind trap, and let's support each other in this practice. Subscribe if you want more stories that heal and teach. Your support keeps these stories flowing to those who need them most. Remember, you're not your thoughts. You are the vast sky where thoughts appear and disappear. Open your hands. Breathe. Begin again.